Hi, Math 257, and welcome to M13. This week we have two lessons. We're going to talk about circles and specifically the idea of pi, and then we're going to talk about surface area. So two important aspects of geometry. So let's start off with circles and pi. So this lesson is rated yellow. A lot of you have worked with circles in the past and can procedurally compute things. However, understanding conceptually what pi is and then seeing the difference between exact and approximate is something that is challenging for some people. We're going to review area first. Make sure you're practicing those formulas that you need to know for the final exam. And then we'll again review some circles, some ideas. Just a reminder, it's 7th grade, and this is a 7th grade standard. So not to say you don't need this if you're teaching younger than that, because this idea of pi can be very helpful throughout all of foundational math. And if you come to class, we're going to do a great activity where we're measuring circles, and we're going to use something called wiki sticks. And it's basically yarn covered in wax. You may have seen them at restaurants. They used to give them out to kids a while ago. So we're going to find 5 circular objects. If you come to class, we'll use objects that we have in class. And here's your directions on how to measure those items. It's important that you're not using a formula. You are actually measuring these things. That's why with wiki sticks, they're bendable, so they can measure around circles. If you don't have wiki sticks, then you can use yarn, just regular yarn. And so you'll measure around the item, and then you'll measure the diameter of the circle. And then we're going to compare these. Remember, I didn't say we're calculating things. We are actually just measuring these things. So you'll get a table like this. If you're in class, you'll just list the objects that I have. For the circumference, that is you measuring the circumference with those wiki sticks or that yarn. Same with diameter. You're measuring the diameter. And we always measure in metrics, so you're going to measure in centimeters. And then this last column is you're going to take the circumference, so this column, and you're going to divide it by the diameter, this column, for each object. So that's what you're going to do. You're not going to use any formula, your first circumference. You're going to actually measure the everyday objects. And then you're going to answer these follow-up questions, which is really important. And then we're really going to dive into what is pi, and then why is our formula for circumference what it is. A lot of you learned a formula of c equals 2 pi r, but there is an alternate formula of c equals pi d, and that is my preferred formula. And the reason is if you use 2 pi r, it's often confused with a formula for the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. So hopefully you're on board with that. I know it might take a little bit of readjusting your foundational knowledge, but I think when you're in a classroom, you'll see, and even for yourself, you'll see how it can make it better. So that's the first day. The second day, we're going to talk about surface area. So we've already learned area. Now, why is it called surface area? Well, this is because we're going to look at 3-dimensional objects now. So again, this lesson is rated yellow, and some students struggle with what are the units for surface area. They're still square units, even though it's a 3-dimensional object, because we're only measuring 2 of those dimensions. We're basically measuring the area of each lateral face, and then we're adding them all together. So making sure you understand the concept is very important, and you really don't need formulas for a lot of surface area. You just need to make sure you understand where it comes from And then if you do want to use formulas, that's totally fine. Just make sure you understand what the formula is asking, because a lot of people use the formula incorrectly. So we're going to talk about different three-dimensional shapes, prisms, cylinders, those types of things. And specifically, we're going to talk about nets. So this is a net right here. So it's basically a two-dimensional representation of that three-dimensional shape. And if you use it on grid paper, you can actually calculate the surface area of the net pretty easily. So you find the area of this rectangle using your formula for the area of rectangle, this rectangle and this rectangle, and then the two triangles. Again, you need to know the area formula for the triangles, but then you could just sum all of those and you'll get the answer. So we're going to investigate the different nets. Can we draw nets for a given shape, which is really important? And then eventually, after we measure some objects, we will learn some formulas. And these formulas are probably different than you've seen before. And we can practice. And when we practice, I don't care if you use the formula or if you just use the net. So that's this week. As always, check Canvas and then try that exit ticket. Thanks for watching.